not the most important recording. Bismillah, Rabbi shrah li sadri wa yassir li amri wahlul uqdatan min lisani yafqahu qawli. Bismillah. So we've been talking to Farhat Appa and we have Aisha Appa today. This is induction, just a quick introduction basically to what we do, why we do it. Now, who can tell me what course this is and why we should do it? I did understand what Farhat Appa said, which is quite important, and I like the answer she gave. If Aisha Appa is there, Aisha Appa, can you hear us? Can you talk? Can you speak? If your mic is switched off, if it's mute, have a look. If you're on the mobile phone. Okay, Aisha is typing something. So, okay, yes, check your mic, Aisha. So, Farhat Appa, I would like to reiterate your point. So Farhat Appa said that she would like to study the classical books. She did not say, oh, I'd like to understand the whole Quran in 1 year. That's exactly the point of this class. A lot of you and all of you, or most of you have taken some sort of grammar course. Especially an example, we all had been a student of Ustad Noman. And after, I think I can hear Aisha, but yes. So after a short 1 year course, nobody could read anything at the back of Access 3. Which is haraka free reading.
Assalamu alaikum. Can you hear me now?
Wa alaikum assalam, Aisha. Marhaban biki. Alhamdulillah, I can hear you now.
Thank you.
MashaAllah, I can hear you. So, so Aisha is from Bangladesh. She's from Chittagong, the city. Farhat Appa didn't, you know Farhat Appa from Afghanistan, Aisha?
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yes, I was surprised. You know, I the first time I've ever met anybody from Afghanistan here. Literally, we haven't met, but I like. I wanted to talk about food, but no, I should actually tell. I love kabli pulao. I actually make it at home sometimes.
Okay, that's good.
I love Afghani bread. That big bread. They call it tamiz in Saudi Arabia. Very big one.
Yes.
There you go. See, food can unite us at least for one thing, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So now, Aisha, quickly, Farhat Appa's reason is very good and very simple and very reasonable reason that she wants to study beyond Quran, to understand Islam. And these texts are not translated, number one. These texts are haraka-free reading, right? So when these texts are not translated and these are haraka-free reading, the biggest problem is that grammar will help you when there is haraka there, just a quick grammar class. But if you don't have vocabulary, how many times are you going to look through the dictionary to actually find one word and then apply the grammar and then translate the whole sentence, right?
Exactly, yeah.
That's not how any scholars in the world have taught Arabic. You talk about Zamakhshari, Sibawi, all these non-Arab, Imam Bukhari, they had to go to learn Arabic first. They acquired vocabulary, and vocabulary comes from baby steps. If I'm to learn Pashto, Afghani, if I'm to learn Urdu, or Farhat Appa wants to learn Bangla, we have to go for little mouse cat stories, words. And so we are back to baby steps. Okay, so a lot of the things may seem silly, may seem childish, may seem you already know it, but as a teacher I have to go from Alif Ba Ta Sa. That's how we do. When you see the YouTube video recordings, you see, you know. And then in the class we have different levels. Aisha did up to Balagha, but when Aisha, you after 1 or 2 years, you know so much vocabulary and language. When you apply that to Balagha will talk to a different level to you. Okay?
Right.
So that's purpose. So understand the Quran. So why we need the course? I'm gonna just quickly go bullet point. We are very late for the induction. I'll probably have to skip a lot of things. So can you see the screen? Yeah.
Yes.
So understand the Quran. It's natural language. Okay. Allah inna anzalnahu Qur'anan Arabiyya. Okay. Quran la'allakum taqilun. Quran is given in Arabic. Okay. So one of the thing is to understand Quran did not come. Number one thing, did not come to teach us Arabic language or grammar. Quran came to the people who already knew the language. Am I right to say that?
Yes.
Exactly.
Yes.
So if we learn just grammar, the question is grammar of what when you don't even know the language? You don't speak it, you don't write it, you don't read it naturally every day. So what grammar are we really learning? Isn't that the question? because that will be a forceful understanding of something. I said this has idafa, this is this, and this is that. Then you just take one view. You don't actually know how people normally have used. Because when we teach a language to our child, what happens is we don't teach them grammar. We teach them what? Words and how words are put together without grammar. And then when you go reading and writing, you go for grammar, which is next level stuff. And our class will revise everything of Sarf and Nahu within stories. Second is, you guys have looked into Sheikh Akram's video, right?
Yeah.
Okay, very good. What are your points from there?
The main thing is to learn the language.
Absolutely. No scholar in the world has taught Arabic just grammar quickly, because that gives a superficial idea.
That grammar or the language is always in a context?
In a context, that's very important, in a context. And I'm going to give some example. So our target will be classical haraka-free reading. You're targeting much higher level than normal quick grammar courses. Okay, this is part of the Alamiya course, and it will take good few years from poetry. The faster you can pick up, the faster we'll cover all the texts that I've studied and I'm still studying. Okay, now for that we need these few things. I would like to, so to do the top two things I said, we need these things that we're going to do. Memorize grammar rules through stories. Okay, otherwise we forget. Because when you're reading an ayah of Quran, if you have to memorize if this is masculine, this is feminine, this is that, this is this, by that time the ayah has gone. You will never be able to listen and translate in your mind. Okay, this grammar through stories will give you the pace, the fluency in your mind. Acquire vocabulary to study the classical books. Although bear in mind, classical vocabulary is endless. Few million words in Arabic. You still need dictionary after 5 years probably, but at least you have 90% less use of dictionary to speed up your process. Okay, so you've watched the Sheikh Akram's video. Now I'd like to give you a quick example of why I believe in the method of Sheikh Akram and why it's right, and because that's how traditional Alamiya, that's how you actually retain to study. You don't need help from a teacher all the time. So number one point, I give you an example. We had met a Moroccan named Fatima, my wife's friend. So she came, she got married, she came to UK, and this is a real story. So she was eating and she finished her food. And Mobashir asked, are you finished, or would you like to eat more? And she said, oh no, I completed my food. So tell me what was wrong here and why it is wrong.
Well, how can you complete a food? It's never been, it's not incomplete, the food. So how can you complete it?
Yeah, but what she meant is what? What's the speaker's intention in this? She meant
that I'm full.
I am finished. I have finished the food.
She has finished the food.
She has finished the food. That's what she meant to do. But when she learned English from whoever she learned, the person did not give her the total convention, as Sheikh Akram says. The words have the same, you can mean the same thing, but there are different words. There are different words, and that applies to a specific situation. If I say I have finished the homework, that is correct. If I say I've completed the homework, that is correct. But I cannot say I have completed the food. The same intention, but the different word has to be used. Now I pick up an ayah of Quran and I say, this is what Allah says. Okay. Kum fa andir, Allah says. Now the word kum has 5 different meanings only in modern Arabic Fusha, that what we be learning. How, as a non-Arab, if I say Allah says kum, means arise, why would Allah just say to Prophet, just stand up? He doesn't need to just stand up and give warning to people. What does it really mean?
To stand your ground?
It could be many meanings, but what exactly that specific meaning, as Umar Radhiallahu says, you teach your children Jahili poetry, because the kum has been used in many different ways, in many different situations. And you come across all those situations and you understand, oh, Quran by kum means this, because kum means to also just move, stand up, move. But why would Allah just say to Rasulullah, just stand up? Would it make any sense?
No.
But no. The translation would say arise. And maybe I'm your grammar teacher. I said, okay, it means arise, and kum means an amr, and that's it, right? But you just take my limited translation view, which happened to Fatima. Somebody who taught her English, he said, okay, complete means to finish something. So use complete for everything. That's exactly what happened. Allah didn't mean kum to just arise. What Allah meant, you read through tafsir, and any of the best of the tafsir always tells you this is how the jahil is used. Not just tafsir. Look at Lisan al-Arab, the main proper dictionary. It will always give you the examples of jahili poetry. And that's exactly why you need to learn all these A, B, C, D, alif, ba, ta, sa, cat and mouse stories, and then slowly you move up higher. Then you understand Quran in its true meaning. Otherwise, you just take my meaning where I don't know the 5 different applications of the word. Anybody can come and say, okay, Quran didn't mean that, Quran meant that. And then I don't have the evidence of the poetries, how they have been used, from the tafsir, how they have been used. And I can read tafsir because I can read Harakafi reading fluently. Then what happened? Then you just take somebody else's view, which is right. They've read it, but why should you depend on them? You should be reading yourself, right? So that is the purpose of this whole long process, lengthy process. And many of the times students came and they even in our Alimiyah course, they came with the zila, I'm going to master Quran in 1 year or 2 years. Sheikh Akram clearly says this. Sheikh Hamza Yusuf, you guys know Sheikh Hamza Yusuf, right?
Yeah.
This Ramadan, he said, it is a dangerous idea. He used the same word as Sheikh Akram used. It is a dangerous idea to actually say that somebody will read Arabic for a year and they will start doing Quran, Arab, and this, and they will understand Quran. Quran is a lifelong study. In my Alimiyah class, Sheikh Akram hardly talks about Quran because you cannot master Quran. You can master the Arabic language, you cannot master Quran. Quran will speak to you in a different way after 20 years. I studied with local Sheikh Harun. We asked him, Sheikh, how long did it take for you to become fluent in speaking Arabic? He studied in Syria, Jordan. It took him 20 years.
Wow, mashallah.
Yeah. So the only problem is when we do quick short courses, the expectation becomes so high, and we may ask, okay, why we had students in the language class, why does Quran say this? What Quran says, it's a long list of study. Let's understand the language properly, take your time, then we see this stuff, say that stuff, say this, and then it'll make sense to you automatically, inshallah. A good example is like, people say, I've been on the, in UK, we have tube lines. So when we say, I've been on the London tube, does it mean a tube?
No.
It means a metro underground, right?
Yeah.
Exactly. In the UK, we have, I bought a Hoover. Hoover is a brand of a vacuum cleaner in the UK. But when you say Hoover, people understand what Hoover is, right?
Yeah.
But without knowing the application of the language, my Afghani friend goes and says, I've got a Hoover. And then Afghanis didn't learn the language from the language perspective. They only learned the formal, a little bit of English. So what is a Hoover? Vacuum cleaner, it's not called Hoover, it's vacuum cleaner. You're wrong. But they're right in the UK. Same thing in Xerox. Xerox means photocopy, but Xerox is one of the first good brands of photocopy machines. Yeah. So the boundary we have to know very well, and it takes time, lots of memorization. Okay. So I gave you an example, kum fa'anzir, then iyaka na'budu. Can you tell me how? So if I ask, maybe Aisha can help us. Iyaka na'budu. This is special, right? Aisha, this is not normal way of saying, because it has. Can you tell us what happened here if you remember? Feel free. If you don't, that's fine. Yeah. So what is the speciality in the way Allah said here? Whatever you remember, I'm not testing you. Don't worry. Make mistakes if you don't remember.
To you only we worship.
Yeah, that's the translation. So in the Arabic, what happens is Allah says, Iyaka na'budu. So if we say iya, and this kaf is actually damir munfasil. Okay, you cannot have a kaf without attaching to something except for iya. Now that's not a normal way Arabs speak. That is not a normal way Arabs would speak. Okay, so when you know the normal way, then you can question yourself. Oh, this is takhsis, this is maf'ul bihi muqaddam. But if I tell you, look, this is takhsis, this is special, and this is maf'ul bihi muqaddam, you only know the special one, you don't know the normal one. So how do you really feel from within that this is normal, that this is special? You need to know the normal one.
Right.
That's what exactly the language class is. So who can give me the normal version of this? Put the fi'l first.
Na'budu iyaka.
Yes, na'buduka.
Na'buduka. Yeah, right.
Na'buduka. Okay.
Na'buduka.
So
Yeah.
if you do na'buduka, then we worship you. There's nothing special. But when you say iyaka, when you want to bring the kaf, you need to add an iya. Okay, kaf cannot be without. Okay. Let me. So just a quick. Let me just quickly send a message to the class because they're waiting. Just 5 minutes delay. Okay. So is this clear so far? What I'm saying? Does it make sense?
Yeah.
Okay. Any questions so far?
No.
Okay. Rabbul Alameen. Okay, we know Rabbul Alameen. So Rabbul Alameen, do you guys remember anything about Rabbul Alameen? Why it's a little different? Testing your memory. Paratapa.
Rabbul, it's, well, no, I'm sorry, I can't remember anything.
Yeah, we do that. Even my students embarrass me in the class, so it's okay. That's the fun of my class. We all here to pick on each other. That's not a problem. That's how you learn, make mistakes. This class is all about making mistakes. So Rabbul Alameen. So it's Alameen. Of course, there's two things from Tafsir. You all know that, I'm sure, that it's not the mountains and the trees and Shajara and all that. It's human. No, it's not. It's the Aqil. Haywan al-Aqil. So Rabbul Alameen. But other tafsir say that mountains and trees and sky, moon, everything calls Allah. So they can be, in this context, they can be taken. But from this is the grammar view, because it should be Rabbul Alam or Awalim. Alam is fine. Alam is ism jama because Alam means everything in the world. Alam itself is a plural, like country or like human, nas, it's a plural itself. It doesn't need una ina. Allah has specifically put una ina just to show two things, that it could be either jinns or human, or it could be everything has akal when it comes to thinking of Allah, worshipping Allah. But when you know the language, the alam, the pattern, look carefully, fa'alun. The fa'alun pattern is a pattern of ism. It's an ism ala. Okay, ism ala. What is ism ala? Does anybody remember this mushtaqat, derived noun?
It's I heard from Sheikh Hamza Yusuf, it's an instrument to do
something. It is
something.
Tool, correct. Like miftah, another pattern, mif'al, yeah. So it is miknasa, broom. So miftah is key. So you're right. So fa'al is also a tool. The moment you actually question yourself, why did Allah not use dunya? Rabbud dunya is fine. Allah used alam, and then the next part is alamuna, that's a different thing. But why not Rabbud dunya? Oh, Allah used an fa'al pattern. Fa'al pattern is an instrument I use every day for my everyday Arabic. Is because the dunya is a tool for Allah to remind you His existence. Because Allah never talks about the proof of God in Quran. Allah talks about His proof of His creation. So you can go this deep, but the question is, when you can question automatically yourself, why Allah used a fa'al pattern, or why Allah used a tool that I use for everyday things, that's when you understand it naturally. Otherwise, I will say, look, this is alamun, alameen, this is haywan, the aqil isms, and you just take it as it is, okay? You need to be able to question yourself naturally. That is one of the targets of this class. Same thing, sirat al-mustaqim. When you normally speak Arabic, you'll always say, ihdina ila sirat al-mustaqim. In Bayina days, we had this conversation with Ustad Hussaina. Ihdina sirat al-mustaqim. But ihdina ila sirata ala sirata, that Allah guide me to the right path, to the straight path, right? In the Quran, Allah says, shakirin al-an'umihi ijtabahu hadahu. He guides, Allah guides who? The shakir. And Allah turned him. It's talking about Ibrahim alayhi salam. Hadahu, Allah guided him. Who is Ibrahim? Ila sirata mustaqim. Now, if you don't know the normal way that ila and has to come before this sirat al-mustaqim, then you'll not be able to question yourself, Ihdina Siratal, where is the ilah gone? You'll be just taking my view, okay, ilah is missing because it's special. But you need to feel the special. Okay. Is that clear so far?
Yes.
Okay, very good. So another example, in Quran, Allah is ma yakhda'una. They don't deceive, yukhadi'una allaha walladhina amanu wa ma yakhda'una. Ma yakhda'una. The ma is a nahi here, is a refutation, is a negation, right? But normally you'd say for negation ma, yakhda'a yakhda'u is present tense, yakhda'una. Normally, in normal Arabic, you would always use ma with the past tense. Ma khada'a or ma khada'u, they did not. But Allah used a ma with the present tense. Why? When you have this big why in front of you, that means you're naturally understanding the beauty of Quran. Then you go to tafsir and say, okay, this is why, this is why, this is why. Because in the Jahili times, in this time, that time, all this poetry has used ma with present tense for specific reason. Okay. So the Quran is a very special book. We don't want to rush into Quran. It took 23 years to come to write this, to finish this book, right? Have you heard of any book in the world to take 23 years?
No.
Exactly. So we must respect the book. It's not that we're not going to talk about this book. I will give you the tools. You will read the books. You'll bring your questions to the class and we'll see together what's happening. Okay. Now quickly, what I'll do, I will get the other people in the class maybe because they're waiting. So any questions so far here?
No.
Okay, fine. So let me add you guys and I finish this call here. Let me add you to the main class and then we finish the rest of it and start the class. Is that okay?
Okay.
Okay. Alhamdulillah. I'll see you in 1 minute.